Ahoy from Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria and country number 58 on my quest to 100. And there she is, Sofia herself. This statue's ruffled its fair amount of feathers with the locals, popular with tourists, but the locals don't like it. Surrounded by controversy because she's not dressed like a saint should dress, apparently, and she's holding the wrong things, making her look pagan, and the city isn't even named after her. It's named after a church. So the local religion being Orthodox, they were like, well, if the city isn't named after her, she's not holding the right stuff, she's scantily clad, and look, she's cold up there. What's it even doing here? So after loads of discussion and loads of arguing, the government said, okay, fine, you've got a point, we'll knock off the saint and we'll just call that statue Sofia. And then someone noticed, hang on, looks a bit like Sofia Loren, that, the Italian actress. Then it turned out that the sculptor had a thing for Sofia Loren and worshipped her, so he just made a sculpture to look like Sofia Loren. So now it's like a local joke that there's just a random statue of Sofia Loren knocking about. Bulgaria is Europe's oldest country, and life in Sofia started 7,000 years ago because they found some thermal springs which were rich in minerals, and basically life just carried on from there. Yeah, there's a spring down here that still produces the original warm, mineral-rich water that the settlers had, and apparently it's really good for the heart. Given what I put my body through over the years and my fear of having a heart attack as a result, yes, I'm going in. Cannot get enough of that water. My God, I wish I could take some home with me. I feel like a new man. Call to prayer. God, do I love listening to that. Makes me feel a million miles away, and that is where I want to be, a million miles away. Experiencing things like that, it sends shivers down my spine every time I hear it. I just love it. There are some Roman ruins over here, and I'm going to have to be honest with you. I'm not going to stand here and say I'm impressed by them, because I'm not. I think they're shit, and I don't mean to disrespect anyone, but see what you think. That, in my opinion, is shit. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how anyone would come and look at that and be impressed. Often when people say to me, yeah, but just imagine what it used to be like before. I was like, well, yeah, I can imagine that from anywhere. I don't have to come here and look at that to imagine what it used to be like. I can imagine anything right now, just by standing anywhere and closing my eyes. I can pretend I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can imagine that I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yay, come on, what happened to you? Let's go, now. You know, that was more fun than looking at that. If it's a pure imagination we're after, I don't need to even look at that, because that looks nothing like it used to. I just don't understand ruins. It'll ruin your day, if anything. Just don't get it. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Just my opinion. You know, we can always agree to disagree if that's your thing. If looking at that is your thing. Right, fuck this, let's go. You know what time it is. Thank you so much to Joyland from America who bought me this coffee on my Buy Me a Coffee page. Oh, Joyland, it's a beauty. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Whilst I'm at it, I just want to say 1,000 thank yous to everybody that's bought me a coffee on my Buy Me a Coffee page. The link's down below if you'd like to buy one and get a shout out in return and help push me forwards on these adventures. It's been truly heartwarming, all the comments, all the clicks on like, all the shares, all the subscribes, all of it means the absolute world to me, honestly. Thank you so much. So this is interesting. Apparently, so I've read, in Bulgaria, it's perfectly acceptable to be late. No one cares. If anything, it's expected. There is no problem with anybody being late because of this. This beautiful church here was blown up by terrorists in the 1920s trying to kill the monarch. But what they didn't realise was that the monarch wasn't inside because he was running late. And he was running late because his driver had died previously and the monarch was at the driver's funeral. So if he wasn't late, then he would have been killed. So the Bulgarians to this day say that, you know, sometimes it's a blessing being late. And to this day, the driver is credited posthumously with saving the king's life. The presidential palace of Bulgaria. It's a fluke, that. Didn't even know what it was, I just Googled it. These guards are here to protect it. Not allowed to move, similar to how it is in London. Look at the feathers on the top. Eagle feather. I don't want to be that annoying guy, so I'll back off. That is one solid building, that. I really like it. Rock hard. Look at that. So I've just been reading about these chaps here with the feathers in their hats, and that's an eagle feather. And basically, back in the day, as part of an initiation, first of all, you had to be a man and have blue eyes, allegedly, and then, as part of the initiation, you had to climb a mountain and tackle an eagle and pluck a feather out of it to put in your hat in order to get the position. And if you didn't do that, you weren't chosen. It's a bit less adventurous these days. I've just been told that apparently they get them from the zoo now. So the local zookeeper just goes in the enclosure and just picks up feathers and hands them over. I'd make them go in, mate. You want to be a guard? All right, pal, in you go. Wrestle that eagle, pluck a feather, and then we'll make it happen. I'd wrestle an eagle. I'd wrestle an eagle right now. Just give me a chance. I really like this city, you know, highly recommend it, especially in autumn. These colours are amazing. Look at that. God, that's nice. So this is the church that the city's named after, the Church of Saint Sofia. And over here in this tree, seems a bit random, but there's a bell. And I just asked the guy, and apparently that is the same bell that was rung to declare Bulgaria's independence. Someone can nick that, surely. I tell you what, it's an interesting city, this, isn't it? It's not often in Europe that I go to a city and think I'm going to come back, but I can see myself coming back here one day. Look at that cathedral. This apparently has got 2 sets of bells, but they're so big and so loud that you can't set them off together, or else all the windows will smash in the whole building. So they've got to make sure that they do one set, stop, and then do the other set. Imagine that. Imagine them bells going off and smashing all the windows. Part of me hopes it happens right now, to be honest. It reminds me of when I went to Cape Canaveral back in the dark days when I was shit-faced. And I remember being fascinated by the launch pad. So it was like a virtual thing where you stand so far back, like in virtual reality. So it shows how far you are away, and obviously, you know, the fire would kill you there. And then you move back a bit further, and they say, yeah, the heat would still kill you there. And then it came back even further, looking at it virtually. And then the guy said, what do you think would happen when you're this far away? And I was thinking, oh, that's miles away. Yeah, well, and I put my hand up, I said, I don't know, you'll be fine. And he went, no, sir, you would not be fine. He said, the noise alone would kill you. And I was like, what? How do you die by noise? What, you just pop? What would happen? Would your head pop? Would your brain just switch off? Dying by noise. Jesus wept, man. Right, on that note, we are up anchor from Sofia in Bulgaria onto our next port of call. See you there.